Welcome to the Mother Daughter-ish podcast. It's your mama's favorite podcast.
And the podcast your daughter always wanted.
This is Miss Dawn.
And Angelique.
From the 713. Houston, y'all. Get connected and stay connected weekly as new shows debut on Sunday, Wednesday, and please check out our Saturday Out and About showcases.
Enjoy the show. Please subscribe, like, share, comment, and tell every woman on the planet that you know about our show.
Here's our show for today. Hey, mothers and daughters, as you know, I promised you that I would have some ladies on here to talk a little bit about their businesses and what it is that they do that lights them up and what 3 business tips that they can share with you as well. So today I have 3 very exciting ladies that are going to kind of share a little bit with you. I have Kelly here today. I have Miss Cassandra here today. And oh gosh, don't say anything. I've got the name, Cindy Lee. And we're just going to basically have a conversation about business, ladies. Now, let's get started. And I'll start with you, Miss Cindy. I want to know the name of your business and how long you've been in business and what it is that your business does. So for each lady, I'll ask you your name, the name of your business, and what is it that you do for business. And then we'll get into these exciting tips.
Well, I'm an author at Growing Your Business Through Referrals. So it's using gratitude and national days to achieve your goals. So today I want to talk about the value of that and, teaching people how to build those relationships, make a difference in your community, and using national holidays to make a difference in somebody else's business and stepping aside from your business for a minute.
I love that. On my bookshelf in my office, I have a book. Now listen, this is old school. This is back in the 90s. They used to put out the big calendars, and I have a book that's about that thick that had like all the daily holidays. And so when we first started doing this podcast, me and my daughters, every time we would come on, we would mention a holiday because there's a holiday for every day of the week. And sometimes there could be 3 for that day. And so I bought that big, huge book way back in the 90s, and I just literally started utilizing it, in business and just kind of looking at fun ways to recognize those holidays. I can't wait to hear from you about that.
Thank you.
Okay, Miss Kelly, what about you?
So I actually am what I would call a serial entrepreneur. So I have a couple of businesses. The one that I'm really focused on now is Bright-Headed Publishing. So I'm a self-published author. So I'm an indie author and an indie publisher. And my brand is I try to help underrepresented voices get their words out there. So I don't have a genre.
Okay.
If you're somebody who is thinking about publishing a book, but you don't know like what to do or where to start or where to go, that is why I am here. And I really want to focus on underrepresented voices, people of color that really don't have the opportunities to get their voices out there. And then I also have another side hustle with my niece called Nyumba, and we sell eco-friendly products. We sell reusable grocery bags and we sell food storage bags. And so I do that with her as well. And then I'm also partnered with my daughter. My daughter is a personal chef, a private chef. And so we have a side business called Mama B's Cookies. And so we also do cookies on the side. So I'm all about the hustle. So that's just a little bit about what I do.
I love that. And I love that you're working with your niece and with your daughter. I work with my daughters as well.
Yeah, we're trying to, my goal is always about generational wealth.
Yes.
So that's what it's all about.
Niece? How old is
my niece is 40 and my daughter is 35.
I love that. Okay. All right, Miss Cassandra.
Yeah, hey, so I am a published author, so I love that we have people helping others.
Yes.
Do it's like a theme. I actually published mine this year, Into the Light, Becoming My Own Hero.
Yes.
It's my memoir of overcoming sexual abuse and childhood trauma. So I really love what you're talking about, breaking generational trauma and creating generational wealth, Kelly. And I also help women unpack their trauma, heal their nervous system, and break those generational chains so that they can become their own hero and really step into their purpose.
Oh, I love that.
I promise you, ladies, I did not plan it that way with
The
authors.
theme going on here is
Promise you, I
awesome.
did not plan it that way. I accepted whoever wanted to help. I'm like, come on, let's talk about it. Okay, so of course, I'm Dawn Fobbs, and our podcast, we started it in 2021 in the middle of COVID. And we started it so that we could be able to have a voice for women. So this podcast is for women by women. I'm also an author. I've written over 30 books. The first one I wrote was in 2008, and I have 20 more books that I'm going to write. So my thing was 55 books by the time I'm 55. All of my books have some kind of business theme. As a professional global speaker and trainer and developer, I always have a book for every topic that I speak on. So as a business owner for 27 years, I absolutely love speaking with other business owners. I don't care what area of niche or hobby or whatever it is that they're earning money for. I love to know what lights people up and what makes them keep going and what are the tips that you can share with other women. I have a lot of people that I've interviewed that are mother-daughter teams, that are sister teams, and I love speaking with people like that because having a support group, and like you said, Kelly, with the generational wealth, it is something that is so important that a lot of us don't think of until somebody mentions it. And then at that point, it's like, man, we should have done that 20 years ago or
Right.
something. So I love that we all have that thread of being authors and having something to say and a message that is going to outlive us. You know what I mean? Those books will be there forever and ever and ever and ever, whether they're digital or however they're presented. So that's really awesome. So let's talk a little bit about the tips that we can share with other women business owners and those who desire to be that can help them in business to continue on their path. I will, of course, be the last one that will go. Who would like to start?
I'm happy to start.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Kat.
So, do you want all three tips or just one tip?
I want to do all three because we're going to have
Okay.
a conversation after.
So, my first tip for anybody who is going into business is number one, be prepared for the no's, be prepared for the rejection. It is going to happen,
Mm-hmm.
right? It is going to, I don't care what business you're in, you're going to hear no. Whether you're going to publish a book, whether you're trying to get funding, whether you're whatever. Be prepared for the no's and know that that rejection is redirection. That no should never stop you,
Mm-hmm.
ever. Number two, consistency in whatever it is you're going to do. Be consistent. You have to be consistent, and that takes discipline. So business is not for the weak.
Mm-hmm.
Entrepreneurial is not for the weak. It's not for the soft skinned. You got to have a tough skin, and you have to be disciplined and consistent. And I
Right.
would say that in whatever you do in life, you
Mm-hmm.
can take that to the grave. That's what I tell my kids. Consistency is key.
Mm-hmm.
And number three, most I cannot emphasize this enough. Do not let other people rent space in your head.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Do not let other people stop you. Do not let their negative chatter deter you from your dream. If you can see it, if you can actually visualize it in your head,
Mm-hmm.
then you can make it happen. It might take some time,
Yep.
it might take some work,
Right.
you're going to hear some no's. You're
Yep.
going to have some tough days.
Yep.
You might be crying in your closet. But you know what? That makes you a little bit stronger. You get up, you dust yourself off, and you come back. And you don't let other people deter you from your dream. I have been there. So I speak this because I speak it from experience.
Right.
So I'm a true believer in you just cannot. So those are my three tips for you. And they're not really business tips, but those will help you get through any business that you
Exactly.
are in,
Exactly.
right?
And at what point did you decide, oh, light bulb moment to get to those tips? What are some of the
So
things that
when
helped
I
you get
first
there?
decided that I wanted to be an author, I was always a writer. I've
Yeah.
always been a writer, but when I wanted to publish,
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about the publishing industry. So I wrote my book and then I started pitching it to publishers and heard a lot of no's and agents and no, 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 no. And I got this one yes. And this guy gassed me up and told me that I was great and this was a great book. And it was my very first book. And my first book was called You Sound White. So it was my first book. And he takes it and he's like, I'm going to publish it. And he gasses me up and tells me all this stuff. And then he's like, okay, well, um, how many books are you going to buy? And buy books. So I invested
Yep.
$700 because I didn't know any better. Nobody told me.
Yep.
And then he ghosted me.
Mm.
And so not only did he have my book published on his platform, he also took my money and I got nothing.
Yes.
Right. And
Oh
so
my
that
God.
crushed me.
That
Yes.
that was one of the biggest things back in
Wow.
the day. That's the way it used to work. Everybody would have, not everybody, but a lot of people would have their own
I mean,
public, and it worked exactly like what she's saying right now. That was a very popular system back then.
And I didn't know any better because nobody told me.
Yep. And then they
Nobody
would
could,
say, and you gotta, then they would say, you have to buy your copyright back, or
yep,
we're gonna just get rid of everything.
yep,
And then
Oh, yeah.
you would lose everything to that.
yes.
Oh, I remember people
And
telling me
that
that.
crushed me.
Yes.
That I stopped everything and I put everything on hold. I just like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not going to do this. But
Right.
the nagging to always do this kept at me. And it
Right.
took me years to come back. I was so ashamed and so, I just could not believe I fell for this.
Yeah.
Hook, line, and sinker. I didn't tell anybody for a very long time. But there is power in my story,
Right.
right? But it took me a minute to understand this. I had to work my way through the shame. So
Yeah.
that's why I say don't let other people's negative chatter rent space. Don't let no's or rejection stop you,
Yep.
and be consistent.
That's right.
All because and so now today in hindsight, I got to tell you, this guy who scammed me, he couldn't have been. That was the godsend. That was the wake up. That was the universe telling me, you know what, Kelly,
Hmm.
stop asking for a seat at the table.
Right.
Go build
Build
your.
your own
And
table.
so that is exactly what I did, and
Absolutely.
that is my advice.
That story is so powerful because I heard it so many times from different people. And to know now someone else that can speak that, because a lot of authors don't know, they think that's the way it works
It
because
does
it's
not work that
presented
way.
so well. But see, the benefit he got was that he could put it up on his website, and so then he could take that and market it and all of that. I love the tips that you gave. I mean, they are very, very powerful. And you're right. Life tips can help in professional development and tips as well, because what we do in here is what we present out there. So you are absolutely right on that. Any other comments, ladies?
That's amazing.
It is.
That was really amazing because that's my publisher actually has been on my podcast talking about that because there's been a lot of people in my sphere of influence who've been in that same situation.
That's right.
And that's why I'm so passionate about helping people get their words out there,
Yeah.
right? It's important because I want to help you so that you don't go down the road I went down. If
Right.
so, I wish somebody would have just told me,
Yeah.
hey, look out for this, or hey, whatever. But I didn't know any better. But if I can help just one other person, then it's a win. I'm successful in my mission.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I feel like it's shifted. Like I still think that the scammy things are happening. It's
Yeah.
just shifted in what it looks like. Because
Yeah.
I recently, with my book, pulled it from a publisher
Hmm.
because I was talking with other people within the community that weren't ever getting their royalty checks
Right.
we're supposed to be getting. And I
Right.
was like, that's weird. And this
Yeah.
one girl, she had done 5 books with them. They were all bestsellers and she hadn't seen one check. And I'm like, okay, something's not right here.
Yeah.
And then I
Yeah.
saw that it wasn't getting delivered upon on other things I had paid for with the company. So my intuition was screaming, pull your book out of here.
Good thing you listen.
Um, yeah, and I listened. But I burnt a bridge, but it's
That's
not me that burnt the bridge. She burnt the bridge.
Kelly,
Yeah.
where are you located?
I am located in Aurora, Colorado.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
To Aurora. I love Aurora. My,
Yeah,
my
just
Mini
How
just
Cooper,
far
right
from Denver
outside
is
of
that?
Denver,
my
right
Mini
outside of Denver.
My Mini Cooper,
Right
he
outside.
used to take that whole town over in the summertime when we come there, like 500 of us.
Yeah,
All
it's
right.
nice here, but not so much today. It's
Yeah.
still not summer here yet.
Yeah, yeah,
Not
yeah,
quite yet.
yeah. All right. Who wants to go next? That was exciting.
I'll go next.
Okay.
Okay, so my first one is know your why and have accountability partners. Second one is have collaborative partners and make great connections. And the third one is know your national holidays. So
Mm-hmm.
your why, it's so important to know your why. I actually have a concierge, and that's the different services I provide for people. I teach them, how to build their business.
Uh-huh.
And back in 2018, one of my clients said, you need to have travel as a part of your concierge. So I did that. I started that brand. And the reason I want to mention that is because that was my dream is to pick a name for my travel company, Bucket List Coach.
Right.
And there was one person that was trying to belittle that name, saying, I don't like the idea. And here we are all those years later, and I mentor over 80 travel agents in my agency. So
Right.
don't listen to the naysayers. Have accountability partners who help you walk through it. For my book, I meet a gal every 2 weeks for an hour to
Okay.
kind of light fire under my backside to get it done because there's a lot that happens in our life. And collaborative partners and connections. Build those connections when making friends on LinkedIn, Facebook, all that. Don't send them a 20-page dissertation and a link. Build that relationship. It's
Right.
so, so important. And those connections that you're seeing on your social media, take your phone and go to the beach. Take your phone and, go for a walk and talk. Just start making those relationships.
Right.
And then also the national holidays. You want to gather the birthday or anniversary of the business owners that you know, and every single year send them a gift. For instance, my surf instructor, every year he gets a birthday gift and he gets a business birthday gift.
Okay.
And look at different national holidays, like there's National Best Friends Day that's coming up.
Yeah.
And one of my friends, she does health and wellness, and she's not my best friend, but she's a friend. So I send her a gift that because she's in health and wellness, I thought, oh, I'll send her some healthy apple rings that are has no sugar in it. So I said, share this with your bestie. So just little things like that that's going to make a difference. Call and sing happy birthday. There's so many different ways that you could step out. And of course, the one thing that is free is review people, a written review or a video review. That's going to make you a rock star in their sphere of influence. And that's how you're going to grow your business is by getting referrals because you're putting somebody else first instead of you.
Absolutely. Now, when you are training those 80 something travel agents, what type of things are you training them on? Like, what's like some of the fun stuff that y'all get to do?
For instance, a couple of our vendors, once you finish the training, like for instance, Sandals Resorts, you get a free 3 night.
Right.
If once you train with Kennard Prince and Princess,
Yep.
you get a free, well, complimentary. You're just going to pay the port fees and taxes, and
Right.
just different little things on, how to build relationships. When somebody books with me, I send them a luggage tag. After they're done, I send them a mug, or I'll send them coasters that have pictures of, say, they went to Cabo, all
Yeah.
their fun stuff they did in Cabo.
Okay.
And I don't contact my clients for my concierge or for my travel. Hey, this is Cindy. When you ready to book in their trip? No. Hey, this is Cindy. Did you know that today is National Have Fun on the Beach Day or whatever that is, right? And to kind of mix it up a bit or send somebody a magazine article that has nothing to do with you getting another business lead. It's
Right.
just building the relationship and
Yeah.
you're top of mind and if you are not top of mind with your clients, but the number one thing, it's not every connection with that client is business. It needs to be personal.
Mm-hmm.
That way they have that heartfelt feeling that you care about them because people don't care until they know that you care.
Exactly. You are so right about that. Any comments, ladies?
I agree with the naysayers, that's what I'm saying. Don't let people rent that negative, that space in your head and get in your head
Mhm.
and deter you from whatever it is you're doing. Because it's very easy to let other people's insecurities chip away at your confidence.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I agree with you on that one wholeheartedly. I think
Yeah.
that is just important that a lot of us don't think about.
And
And
that's
you
what,
want to find somebody who makes you feel that way. So,
yeah.
right a year before I started my agency, I was at a surf museum up north in Northern California. And I always say hi or compliment somebody. That's just a done deal every time I'm out in the community. And I walked out the museum and this kid says, Hi, how are you? I'm like, I'm doing great. How are you? He goes, You know that I have a bucket list? I can't really here. He showed me his bucket list and I got a chill from the top of my head to the bottom. So remember how I talked in the beginning about your why?
Yeah.
So when I'm having a bad day, I look at that video that I made with that young man. I believe he had Down syndrome,
Oh,
probably like in his late 30s, but
okay.
I'm getting chills just thinking about it. So
Yeah.
find that one person who is your why, your reason, why you do what
Yeah.
you wake up every morning. And at the end of the day, nothing really matters
Yeah.
except for the good Lord giving you another day of life. We have to just
Yeah.
be grateful. It's
And that's
very
why
key.
these type of topics are so, powerful because other women will hear them and maybe it may inspire them, maybe it may excite them, maybe it may give them a different thought process or something like that, especially coming from those of us who are in the thick of it. We are doing this thing every single day because I meet a lot of women who want to start a business, but they're afraid to leave that 9 to 5 or they're afraid to step out and do something on their own or somebody told them they couldn't because they don't know what
Hmm.
they're doing. Just listening to what other people have projected upon them, people literally actually listen to that thing and it will stop them in their tracks and they won't move forward. So being able to have something to look forward to, like those holidays and all the things that we can do to, build these relationships with people, I just think it's so important.
Yeah,
All right.
I like that you brought up the holidays too. I never thought of implementing that because that could be so
Oh, and you find so
Yeah.
many fun
yeah.
ones that's just like, oh, that's so fun. Like, National Pizza Day or National, Grandparents Day. And just all,
Donut Day's coming up in about 4 or 5 days. So there's
I
another one.
love looking at those
Yeah,
holidays.
you
I
could
used to,
contact local media. You could do a collaborative, show up at the donut shop, promote your business, help the media, get more information,
Really good
to that
idea.
donut shop. So that's pretty cool.
exactly, exactly. I think they're so much fun, and I've always loved those different holidays, especially the quirky ones. Like when I want to find a quirky one or something now, I don't have to go look in the book. I just go either to Chat GPT or Google or something like that, and I'll find like the weirdest, most fun event, and just like have like a little coffee gathering or tea gathering with
Yeah.
some other lady entrepreneurs. And like, okay, well, we're selling, and people will say, is it somebody's birthday? No, we're celebrating National Coffee Day or National Tea Day or a National Beignet Day or something, and they'll be
Hmm.
like, oh, okay. Like y'all are weird, but it looks fun.
Yeah, and there's an author day, there's a read a book day. I mean, there's
Yep.
something related to what we do as well. So.
Yep.
Nice.
Cool.
All right, Miss Cassandra, share with us your tips.
Yeah, so when I'm thinking about the, because you guys both shared such amazing tips, so I'm like, what can I share that is a little different? I think back to when I was kind of at ground zero, starting life over from scratch, facing being a single mom,
Mhm.
had no idea what I was going to do or how I was going to make it. I had to move back to my mom's, and what came to me in that moment was a nudge, like an intuitive nudge. So, my first one is listening to your intuition, listening to those little whispers, listening to the nudge,
Yeah.
because it led me to ask someone. So, the second thing is ask if I could set up my art. Back then, I did face and body art and makeup. So, I asked someone if I could set up in the back of her event she was doing. She was doing night events, and she said yes. And so, I was a super pregnant lady, didn't know what I was doing. I literally taped signs above where I was sitting, and people came, rub my belly for good luck, and
Wow.
they got painted. And it ended up what I thought was just going to be a thing to get by, right? While I figured my life out, became a 10-year business that was really successful until the pandemic.
Mm,
So the three things is listen to the nudge, ask, and just like Kelly was saying, like you're gonna get no's, keep going. And then it's like showing up. Just show up.
you're
And
right.
you don't have to have, it doesn't have to be perfect. And you don't need to know all the steps, but just take that next best step.
That is so
And
true.
that really helped me because I didn't see the whole path ahead of me, right? And I was like, I'm gonna ask her. She said, yeah, okay. Now I'm just gonna set up, okay. And then it was the next event and the next event, and then it just started snowballing where I had team members and we were doing all kinds of fun stuff.
You are so right about that. And I think when I meet new entrepreneurs, I always tell them join at least one networking group. You start
Mhm.
showing up and showing up and showing up, you will become top of mind, especially if you orders, I mean, if you offer something that's within that niche that
Yep.
maybe nobody else in the room is offering, because a niche can make you rich. I proved that a long time ago. But
Wow,
I'm
I love
telling
that.
you, when you're networking, and I don't mean just showing up in person, you can network online, you can network in person, you can network however you want to, but I'm just saying when you're connecting with other people, it's really awesome. And I really also like those groups, like, for example, a BNI group. I don't know if you have it in
Mhm.
your town, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
like a
Yep.
BNI, where if you're in a particular genre of something like travel agent, you can only be the only one travel agent in there, which really gives you access to having that particular niche that other people would be able to tap into, as opposed to having seven travel agents in there in a group of 40. It's like, okay, everybody's jockeying for the same thing. So that showing up, what you said, I'm telling you, it really, really works. And it works in just about everything that we can do. It
Mhm.
works in building relationships within your own family, showing up to those family events. It works in networking to build your business and be top of mind. It works for a lot of things. It works for just, for example, I have a travel group for ladies 50 and older. When we show up together and we're working on our personal and professional development, just the fact that they showed up, when they go home, they tell me about how enriched, the trips were and how much fun
Yeah.
they had and recapping, oh my gosh, this right here was the thing that helped me. Now I can move forward in XYZ. So the showing up part, Cassandra, I'm gonna tell you, you got that one right.
Yeah.
That showing
Nail on the head,
up,
girl. That's awesome. I'm so
absolutely.
proud of you too.
Yeah, yeah.
What you accomplished.
Because
Yeah, and how you show up
the
too.
naysayers would have said, "Oh, she's pregnant and she's this."
Oh, so many. There were so many. I had all kind of people telling me like, "Oh, you're a single mom. You need to get a regular job." Blah blah blah
Right.
blah. I was just like, the numbers never made sense. I was like, by the time I pay the babysitter and pay to travel to go to this job, there's no money. Like it made no sense. I had to keep trusting my intuition and leaning into this thing that actually was the thing that provided for me and my daughter.
Exactly. And just continue stepping out on faith and faith. Because when I left corporate America in 1996, let me tell you something. My mom told me every single day, do not leave that good job. That job pays for your insurance. It's helped you to
Mhm.
buy your home. And I said, well, I've already paid for my insurance with the money that I've already earned in my own business. I'm already good on everything else. The kids are taken care of. Everything's good. What do you mean? And then it went from don't leave that job to get a real job. And I'm I
Oh,
literally own a real business. I didn't create a job for myself. I created a business for myself so that I can work just as hard as I play.
Right.
So
mhm,
I never fail for that, get a real job or get a job. And I'll tell you, I have four adult children right now, and I would never say that to them, but only from experience of hearing other people say that to people. But I would never say to them, get a real job. I want them to work whatever business lights them up and soothes their soul.
Mhm.
They come from an entrepreneur mom, so they're never going to be happy with a 9 to 5. It just is not going to fit in their soul because that's not how they were raised. So when they're telling me all these great things that they're wanting to, like my girls work with me, but my boys are very independently working, I'm just like, okay, my evil plan worked. That's just
awesome.
kind of how I look at it because we have to do things that really excite us and that, makes us want to get up in the morning and go and do them. Not the, I hear
Mhm.
so many people saying how much they hate their jobs and they can't stand the people and the office politics is stressing them out and they're on anxiety pills for this and that. And I'm like, so how many more years are you going to do that?
Hmm.
Like just asking the question, how many more years you think you're going to be able to sustain that type of lifestyle before something really bad happens to you? So it's like doing these things that we really love is so important. And that's the only thing that I really want other women to know is that we have to do those things that really excite us because we're doing everything for everybody. But what happens when our buckets get empty? Who fulfills it?
Yeah.
But if
Right.
you can do it
And
for
know that
supporting,
there's never a right time,
never.
right? There's
Ever. You
never
could
going
be
to be
Do it
60,
that
now.
you
perfect
Yeah.
could be
moment.
60, you could be 60 years old before you figure it out. But guess what? You figured it out.
I hear
And I
people
will.
say that
In
all the
3 months,
time.
I'll be 60.
I hear
Oh,
people
awesome.
I hear people say, "Well, I'm just waiting for the right moment." There's never going to
No.
be one.
Yeah.
Now is the right moment.
I'm telling you, but that translates into a lot of things because I remember when I bought my house, I was 24 years old, and my mom said, "Do not buy a house because you might get married again, and you don't want, to have to get another house, and I know you're not going to let a man move in with you or whatever." And I'm just like, so you think so now I'm going to be 53 this year, and I still haven't remarried. You think I was going to wait until I'm in my 50s to buy a house? No, I bought it at 24. There's no way I was sitting around waiting for anything. And that's kind of the attitude that I have right now. And I'll tell you, that's one of the tips I will share. Don't sit around waiting for the right time. It's never the right time. You just have to jump in and dip your baby toe into it and see what happens. And stepping out on faith would be my second one. Because when I left my corporate job, I loved the job. Okay, I was a call center manager over 47 women. I had an amazing time. I worked from 5 a.m. to 1 p.m. I was here when the kids got home from school. It was great. But I woke up one morning and something said, you're supposed to be doing something else. Didn't give me any directions, no title, no nothing. Just you're supposed to be doing something else. And I followed that lead. I wrote that resignation letter that same day, but I didn't step out until 2 years later because you got to get your ducks in a row. So after I knew what that first business was going to be, which I started a daycare in my home because I wanted to be here when the kids went to school and when they came home. And I went, well, if they come home with an extra few kids, no problem. They always have a lot of friends over here anyway, but I can get paid to have those kids come here. So, stepping out on faith was one of the best things. And I will tell you, here we are 20 something years later, and I never had to look back and say, like, uh-oh, no. Never looked back to say maybe I should have, could, because I just told my daughter a few weeks ago, I said, if I wanted to still be at that job, I could still be there because they pursued me for years after I was gone. And I told them, no, I'm supposed to do something else. I'm not supposed to be there for 30 or 40 or however long it takes when people retire. I don't know, but I know I wasn't supposed to do that. And then I would say my third tip is making sure you know how to properly cross promote. And all I mean by that is, for like example, when we got ready to start our podcast, we had so many people reach out to us who already had their podcast that were like, I'm going to have you on the show. I have 30,000 people listening to me. Maybe that'll help you to grow your audience, just kind of like going in since you've already got 10 shows, taped. I guess we still use the word taped. You already have 10 shows taped. So we're going to have you on our show, and maybe some of our audience could tap into you because we do have a lot of women. So we did probably about 15 interviews before we even started our show. And within, 90 days, we had our, first 1,000, people that were subscribed to the show and things like that. So I'm telling you that cross promoting really helps us to grow our businesses. But I'll tell you something else that it does is it gives us an opportunity to collaborate on other things. It gives us an opportunity to build space like this where we can get on Zoom and talk. We're all in different areas. We're all on our own trajectories of whatever it is that we want to do. And I just find that to be exciting. And since I'm speaking about location, where are you located, Cindy?
I'm in Anaheim.
Oh, you're in Anaheim. I've been there many times to Disney
Mhm.
with the kids. And then Miss Cassandra, where are you?
Texas.
Which part?
Oh,
Houston?
Where?
Houston?
Oh, so you're
Suburb.
in
Houston. Okay. Yeah.
I'm in Houston, but I live in Katy. I've been out here
Okay.
for
Oh,
20,
wow. Okay.
I've been out here 26 years. So yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. That's awesome. Where are you in Houston?
The suburbs, Conroe by the
Conroe.
Woodland.
Okay,
Hmm.
Conroe. Where
Hmm.
Conroe is.
Yeah.
Awesome. As a matter of fact, one of my ladies in my travel group, we're gonna go out and do the 2 hour train ride in Palestine this weekend coming up.
Oh, nice.
He's in Huntsville, so I'll drive there and then we'll go get the train and then we'll go spend the weekend in Crockett. We have some property up there with a couple of houses on it. So awesome to know
Wow.
somebody in my hometown. That's really cool. Well, ladies, are there any other tips that you would like to specifically share with women that will help them on their business journey, especially those who have kind of been beaten down a little bit from people telling them they can't do something for whatever the reason they can't do it. They don't have enough money to do it. You're not, it's not the right time to do it. Oh, you're pregnant. You wait until after the baby's 10. What other tips would you like to share with women to encourage them and empower them to do
I
it
got
now?
Okay, go first.
Yeah, so one of the biggest things that helps me just period in life, being a mom, being a business owner, just putting myself out there is really filling my cup first.
Hmm.
And so really doing repetitive, effective practices
Yeah.
that nurture my nervous system so that my emotional well-being has more bandwidth and resiliency in it.
Right.
And then also like meditation so
Mm.
that my brain capacity is up to par and so that I'm not constantly inundated with everybody else's thoughts or feelings. Like I really need to tune into my own voice and my own message and my own essence.
Right.
So meditation, I do EFT tapping for
Yep.
the nervous system regulation, some kind of movement because we have a body. You got to move your body. It doesn't have to be crazy,
Yep.
but just something to get you moving, right? And then the fourth thing is something for your soul. So
Mm.
I do this daily practice and I do these four things every day. And I notice that it helps me not only when times are good, but also when things are a little bit tougher, or maybe you hit a dip or something in your business, because
Yep.
that happens.
It does.
It just helps you stay more centered, grounded, and become the eye of the storm so you're not just like flailing around in chaos.
I love that. Yeah. So that emotional well-being is so important. Our travel
Mhm.
group, we have a trip to Sedona that we're doing in July, and it's a relax and relate trip. I mean, it's just for us to really empower one another, and we find that to be every year we find it to be very important that we get together and we just kind of empower one another. I mean, even more than we do on our other trips, but we always do something right toward, the end of the summer almost because there are just times when it just needs to be about us. It just
Mhm.
it's about our
Mhm.
mental well-being. It just needs to be about nobody asking us to do anything for them because we may have not done anything for ourselves this month, but guess what? We're doing something for ourselves. So, for some people who don't understand that type of alignment, they feel like that is selfish. But I feel
Mhm.
like if you're going to help everybody else, if you're not good, how can you help them?
Mhm.
But that's
Right.
what I used to always say. If mama ain't happy, the house ain't happy. So y'all better be on y'all P's and Q's.
Right.
Or let me tell you something, it will not be good for you because when you ask me, can you go somewhere? I'm gonna say no. When you ask me if you could do something, I'm gonna say no. When you say can you play with something, I'm gonna say
No.
no. If you don't want all of those no's, then everybody better be on their P's and Q's because I have to be happy in order to deliver that same, happiness to the kids. So I never fell for even some people at my church that I used to go to, they used to say, um, I know it's chaos in your house with four little ones. And I went, not in my house. No, no, no. I literally am the adult and I literally run the house. What do you mean? And they would go, oh, when I had little kids at home, they tear up everything, put holes in the wall. And I said, I wish they would. And they looked at me like, oh Lord. But I just didn't understand, people thinking that I'm supposed to lower myself to allow chaos. A lot of people can live in chaos, and sometimes chaos can be good for certain things, but not in the house. Not in the house that we're all supposed to be respecting one another. And I think that also, like you were saying, Cassandra, being able to do something for yourself is also a form of respect to yourself and your nervous system and your emotional well-being and your healing, because we've all got something that we've healed from or healing from. So that's just how I take life. It's like, okay, I have to take care of me first, and then I can be the best version of myself to whoever I come in contact with on a daily basis. So it's kind of
Yeah.
a thought process of how I do things to make sure that it makes sense to me. Because if it doesn't make sense to me, I'm going to be questioning it, and then I'm typically going to remove myself if it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what's the next holiday that's coming up, Cindy? That's like this week.
Is it the donut one? I gotta do something for
Look
this.
here.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
And give me a good excuse to eat a donut.
Yeah.
Let me
My
turn.
daughter will be happy with the donut one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Look,
Okay,
now
well,
we have a real excuse, but wait a minute, it's a holiday.
Mhm.
try to take my background off real quick.
And my kids will probably laugh and say, "Oh, you don't celebrate Memorial Day, but you're celebrating donuts." Okay, Mom.
Okay, let me see here. So today's the 26th. So blueberry cheesecake, paper airplane day.
Ooh.
And we see beef burger and brisket, hamburger, senior health
Okay now,
fitness.
Cassandra,
Flip-flop day is
we're
the
in Texas,
28th.
so brisket is right up our
oh,
alley.
that sounds so good
Oh,
too.
good.
Yeah. I'm actually going to a networking event coming up. It's called Networking Riches.
Yeah.
And the guy who runs it, he loves, loves, loves brisket. So I'm gonna order brisket through the Grubhub app. That's one of the things I talk
Oh,
about in the
that's
book.
gonna be awesome.
Is to pay it forward. Like I had someone on my podcast the other day, and it was National Chocolate Chip Day. So I went to Grubhub and I ordered actually through a grocery store. And he said, "Well, how come you didn't knock on the door? How come you didn't tell me?" I said, "No, Grubhub delivered it." He goes, "What?" Yeah.
That is
So
so
one of the things I want to talk about is it's so important to put people first. So it's good to know your daily method of operation, DMO. So one of the things I do is I sing happy birthday.
Mhm.
I see whose birthday it is for the day. I also call at least 5 to 10 people and let them know if I'm great, that I'm grateful. If it's a crazy day, I'll just text them, but call at least 5 to 10 people to make a difference.
Right.
When you go to a networking event, after you're done with the networking event, get your phone, do a nice little thank you, and
Yep.
send it to the people. Even if you want to go a step further and do a thank you note. When you're at a networking event, do not be quick to throw your business card.
Yeah, I call it no card
Yeah.
shuffling. We're not
Yeah.
playing
You want to
spades.
you want to say, hey, give me about 2 or 3 sentences of what your business is about and who you're looking for. Give me 20 minutes and I'll come back. I'll either introduce you or give the card. And they'll say, Cindy, but I want to get to know you. I'm like, you know what? Here's my information. What's your phone number? And then I'll just text them. I say, let's meet in the next couple days for coffee at Starbucks or, support a local mom and pop and
Yep.
just make a difference. Don't be the one that's just throwing out your card out there.
No,
Build those relationships.
that
And
was my,
people will be shocked that you want to put them first. So I'm going to
they
say
are
at the end of this
very,
podcast, that's my number one
they are very shocked.
information for people to remember.
They are very shocked when you do that type of method. That was actually the first book that I wrote called 7 Days of Networking. And I talked a lot about that card shuffling and about just going to events to, oh, I gotta get one client. If you go in with that
Yeah,
type of
no.
method, you're not going to even enjoy the event because you're so busy
Right.
trying to get the one client that most people are coming to meet people. They want to know who does what. And sometimes if I don't need what your service is, maybe I already have homeowners insurance.
Mhm.
I know someone who's moving new into the neighborhood. Maybe they may need something like that. But, just to throw your cards around and say, oh, yeah, that's my one customer for today. No, that's a bad way to prospect, you know?
Yeah,
Hmm.
and then also if you're in touch, let's say with network marketers and they're trying to hit you up for their product and say you believe in the product because it's not about the product,
Right.
it's about the service. So
Yeah.
I've referred a lot of people, even if I've never bought their product, it's because I have a know, like, trust relationship with the
There you go.
individual.
There you go.
So that's just so important. It just goes back to building those relationships from the very beginning.
Very true. I agree with you. Any last parting words, Miss Kelly?
So for me, I liked what you said about cross collaboration. I think
Mhm.
it's important. So one thing that I do offer is I do a little 5 minute mini cast
Yes.
called the Author's Mic. It airs on Spotify, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, all platforms, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The platform is opened to anybody
Mm-hmm.
who would like to come on to promote their book, promote their craft,
Okay.
talk about, share information. It is literally, so usually it's just me talking, and I usually give tips and tricks about indie author and things that you should be looking out for. But if I do have a guest, and I love guests, the mic is theirs. So I'm quiet and it's your 5 minutes to do whatever you want, just because it's really important, especially if you are looking to promote and you don't know how to start, or
Right.
I want to be on a podcast but I don't know how, or
Yeah.
I'm afraid, or I don't know. It's 5 minutes, but it's your 5 minutes, and it's just something that I offer to everybody. So I would offer it to everybody on this podcast, and anybody's listening. If you have something to say, the
Mm-hmm.
mic would be yours. All you
I
gotta do is email me, hit me up.
I will
You don't
do.
have to pitch me.
I want to
Um,
come. Yeah,
yeah,
let's
come
Yeah.
on.
five
We'll talk
minutes.
about your book. You don't have
Listen.
to pitch me. You don't have to, you're not pitching. It's not for me. And that's exactly why I built the platform. It is for us. It's not just for me, but it's for anybody who is looking to maybe promote, cross promote,
Mm-hmm.
collaborate, network. I'm trying to help build the community,
Exactly.
and that's what it's all about. So I'm about putting others first, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
100%, 100%.
Thank you. I'll definitely be your guest.
Come on,
Now,
so I just wanted to offer that and just let people know that my parting words are, whatever it is that you do in life, whatever that would be, please let it be something that you believe in,
Mm-hmm.
and then be consistent, because
Mm-hmm.
people will show up. So when you're starting and you get just one person, and everybody starts from nothing, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And this is what I always tell my niece, because my niece is always like, "Oh my God, I saw this podcast and this person is making $50,000 on Amazon." Oh, that sounds great. But what we didn't see is how they got there.
Oh yeah.
We did
exactly.
not see the messy journey, the
They can
hard
see the
days.
finished product. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we don't even know if that's true. So just
Right.
remember,
Right.
everybody starts from nothing. Everybody has a first day.
Right.
Everybody has a first day.
Right.
And so whatever you do, as long as you believe in it,
That's
just be consistent. That's all that I ask. That's what I ask my kids. Be
right.
consistent in whatever it is you do, and people will show up for you, and you will be successful.
Absolutely. Okay, so I would like to end this podcast by getting everybody to list their website so that our listeners could be able to go over there and then they could also connect with you. Your information will definitely be in the description. So for those of you who are interested, just look down in the description box. But I'm going to start with Miss Cindy, your website.
So Ask Cindy Connector Live on Facebook. That's my entrepreneur podcast. And then growing your business through referrals.com. That is the book.
Okay. And Miss Kelly, your website?
Brightheadedpublishing.com is the website. And then there's my link tree, which is, if you go to the website, you can catch me, everything's on the website.
Okay, got it. Miss Cassandra.
Painintopoweracademy.com is the website. And then you can find me on Instagram at C_love_Lambert.
Love it. Okay. And of course, our website is motherdaughterish.com. And thank you, ladies, so much for sharing your tips today. I do know that when people listen to this podcast, they are going to go away with some really powerful tips and some things that maybe they can start incorporating into their daily life as they're growing their business, as they're running their business, as they're ready to sustain that business and maybe turn it over to someone else. But I know that these tips not are just professional tips, but they're also personal development tips that you can use, because again, whoever you are in here is who you need to be out there. So might as well get it all together, wrap it in a little bow, and not have to be two or three different personalities. I hear people talking a lot about imposter syndrome, and I'm like, you know what, when you know who you are and you hone in to what your purpose is, you won't have a problem with that. So thank you, ladies, for being able to share with me today. I appreciate it, and I hope that everyone else besides me and Cindy, I hope the other two ladies, I hope y'all start looking at those holidays, because I'm telling you, I'm telling you, they are so fun. I remember I did a 30-day podcast, just 30 days. I did a show for every day, and every day I would list a holiday, and people are like, where are you getting this from? And I'm like, I just find it to be fun, especially the quirky holidays. Like, I find it to be fun. I find it to be interesting. And, I was the nerdy person, 20 years ago, who bought the big book, look almost like the Ripley's Believe It or Not book, because it had all the different holidays by month. And I would just go and pick one and be like, oh, today's whatever. So have some fun with those holidays and incorporate them into some fun things that you're doing. So, Miss Cindy, I love that, knowing that that's a daily thing in your life as well, which makes life just so much fun.
Thank
So,
you. Well, each and every one of you who come on my podcast, Ask Cindy Connector Live, you will get a calendar for coming on my show. So we can
awesome.
touch bases here in the next couple weeks.
Well, we're just waiting on the invitation, ma'am.
There you go.
All right,
You
ladies, thank you
here.
so much. I
Thank you.
appreciate y'all, and have a fantastic day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Let's talk about it. I gotta admit, proud of who you become, and everything that you've done. Mother and daughter are always greater when they're together. Everything's better. Mother and daughter, oh, they're the greatest duo. Mother and daughter, oh, they're the greatest duo.
I don't get on TikTok like that.
It's not on TikTok. I'm not on TikTok. That was on IG.
Anything you see on IG is on TikTok.